Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Abiba Saripauda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez. We are from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to
Balitang Pambansa.
Tonight's headlines. The palace firmly belied the claim that the arrest of the former president was a mere diversionary tactic to supposedly shift attention from the issues and allegations being hurled against the government. The palace says that the operating hours of the Metro Rail Transit, or MRT, will be extended to cater to more commuters. To help 4-piece beneficiaries even further, the government is eyeing the online distribution of aid. The palace says that the results of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, probe on the bridge collapse in Isabela will be released next month. The palace refuted claims that the arrest and surrender of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the International Criminal Court, or ICC, was a diversionary tactic and meant to distract the public from controversy surrounding the Philippine Health Insurance Corporations, or PhilHealth, and the 2025 national budget. PTV's Kenneth Paciente has the details.
Malacanang has denied that the arrest and surrender of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the International Criminal Court was a diversionary tactic. This after former President's son, Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte, alleged that this was merely a way to cover up several issues, particularly the idle fund of PhilHealth and the 2025 national budget. According to Malacanang, these issues are already being addressed.
Bago po nangyari itong pag-aresto at pag-surrender kay dating Pangulong Duterte, kakausapin mismo natin ang taga-PhilHealth. Meron na po kami. Hindi lamang po namin ipinapalabas ngayon dahil nga po ang issue ngayon ay patungkol po dito sa ICC. At baka po hindi maintindihan ng tao kapag ka po ibang issue ang pinag-uusapan. Pero madali pong i-explain kung ano po ang nangyari sa PhilHealth. At yung tungkol po sa GAA, hayaan po natin dahil ang sabi po natin, sumusunod tayo sa principle, enrolled bill principle. Hindi po ito diversionary tactic.
The palace also said the issue of the Office of the Vice President's confidential funds seems to have been forgotten. They added that it was fortunate that new suspicious names have emerged, all of whom allegedly received money from the OVP's intelligence or confidential funds.
Kung naman po ay nadiscover po, dapat po rin patunayan. Kasi as of the moment, nasabihin pa rin po natin, may presumption of regularity patungkol dyan. Pero, since nako-question nga po ito, dapat lamang pong patunayan ni VP Sara kung ang mga resibong ito ay totoo o hindi.
The palace also dismissed Mayor Baste Duterte's claim the administration has singled out and targeted them.
Gusto naman po niyang iparating sa taong bayan na kawawa na naman po ang mga Duterte dahil sinisingle out. Ang warrant of arrest po ay para lamang po kay dating Pangulong Duterte. Wala pa po ang ibang mga co-perpetrators na nakasaad doon. So hindi po tayo makakaiwas na si dating Pangulong Duterte lamang po
In the Philippines first before being turned over to the ICC. The palace explained it is the previous administration who should answer because it was the Duterte administration which requested the ICC prosecutor in 2021 to halt the investigation of its war on illegal drugs, claiming the former administration was more than able to conduct its own probe or inquiry. However, this was not done, which is why the ICC prosecutor continued its investigation.
Kung meron po sigurong dapat sisihin kung bakit nagpatuloy ang ICC, yun na rin po ay ang dating administrasyon dahil hindi sila agad kumilos patungkol dito sa mga kasong ito. Na nirereklamo patungkol sa madugong war on drugs. Hindi po ba dapat sila nga muna ang nagsimula? Para kung meron pong dapat na ipagpatuloy ang administrasyong Marcos patungkol sa pag-iimbestigang yan, ay dapat na simulan na po. So wag natin ipahid ang kasalanang ito sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Marcos.
Meanwhile, the palace announced it is coordinating with other government agencies to address the spread of fake news, especially on social media, following Duterte's arrest. It also emphasized that a whole-of-nation approach is needed to put an end to misinformation and disinformation. Malacanang also said it does not object to the statement of former Senator Laila de Lima and her willingness to cooperate in the ICC investigation. The palace once again urged former presidential spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque to return to the country and face the allegation against him, especially since he will no longer be part of Duterte's legal team. From PTV Manila, Kenneth Pasyente, Balitang Pambansa.
In related news, the International Criminal Court or ICC has stated that it can already freeze the assets of former President Rodrigo Duterte even while his trial for alleged crimes against humanity is still ongoing. According to the ICC, freezing Duterte's assets would ensure that sufficient funds are available for potential compensation to victims of his administration's anti-drug campaign. Meanwhile, the palace acknowledged that there is a legal process for enforcing such an order should the ICC make a formal request. The palace also said that it would defer to the Anti-Money Laundering Council or AMLAC regarding any potential request to freeze Duterte's assets. The palace further clarified that the AMLAC would have the final say on the matter should the ICC determine that asset freezing is necessary.
Two alleged members of the Davao Death Squad or DDS, Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas, may testify against former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is facing crimes against humanity charges before the International Criminal Court or ICC. ICC Assistant Counsel Cristina Conti stated that their testimonies could help link Duterte to the DDS, with both men considered insider witnesses due to their level of involvement with the group. Former President Duterte's role as the alleged founder and leader of the DDS, a group known for extrajudicial killings in Davao City during his 22 years as mayor, is stated in the arrest warrant issued by the ICC. Some 2 or perhaps even 3 million work the swing shift in the megacity each day. Workers in government and the private sector who leave home between noontime and 3 in the afternoon and depart the workplace from 9 in the evening to 12 midnight. The MRT3 is extending its service hours at night, spells huge relief for tens, if not thousands, along nearly the entire stretch of EDSA wishing to get home earlier at night by riding the train. Our Clazel Pardilla has more.
This March, Jericho is expected to begin work as a security guard. He's sure to be home late at night. The good news, according to Malacanang, starting next week, the operating hours of the MRT3 will be extended. The Department of Transportation has directed the train services to run later into the night. Currently, the last train from North Avenue departs at 9:30 p.m., with the first train leaving at either 4:36 or 4:38 a.m., depending on whether it's a weekday or weekend.
Ayon sa DOTR, magsisimula na sa susunod na linggo ang mas mahabang oras ng operasyon ng MRT3 upang mas maging maginhawa ang biyahe ng mga pasahero.
Sa mga commuters, lalo po sa mga nag-MRT po, mas sabor po sa amin yun, ma'am, lalo po pag panggawi po kami, tapos then kahit uwi po, mas mabilis po yung buhay namin, ma'am.
May masasakyan ako na hanggang ganyang oras is napaka-malaking makakapagtipid talaga ako kasi pag gumagala ako is talagang nagbubuk ako para mas safe, no? Pero since nahahaba yung ating operating hours, is para sa akin is sobrang malaking tipid talaga.
MRT3 will also increase the number of trains during peak hours or when passenger volume is high.
Layunin nitong mapabilis ang tinatawag na waiting time ng mga pasahero sa kanilang pagsakay at pagbaba, lalo na tuwing rush hour.
Ay ma'am, mas okay na po yan kasi ma'am, lalo po pag mas hassle po, pag siksikan po, nagtutulakan po, yun, nakakadisgrasya po pag ganun ma'am. Kaya mas okay na po na magdadagdag po. Ganun.
Clazel Pardilla, Balitang Pambansa.
To expedite the delivery of aid and services under the administration of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the government is set to digitalize the distribution of various financial assistance programs to encourage beneficiaries to take advantage of the faster disbursement processed via online payment applications. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has begun providing aid through e-wallet transactions. This initiative will also be expanded to other programs, including the Tulong Panghanapbuhay sa Ating Disadvantaged Displaced Workers, or TUPAD, of the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE. Meanwhile, the palace has also assured that digital literacy programs will be implemented to equip citizens with the necessary skills to officially use government technology and online services.
Yun po ang balakin dahil sabi nga po natin, ang naisin po ng Pangulo ay magkaroon ng 90% na digitalization para po yung mabilis ang transaksyon ng mga taong bayan sa pamahalaan. Asahan po natin na kahit papano po, susunod-sunod rin po natin yan sa abot na makakaya ng pamahalaan.
On the other news, the palace is awaiting the results of the investigation on the damage of the Cabacan Santa Maria Bridge in Isabela. According to PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro, the investigation report from the special committee formed by the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, is set to be released on April 25. Yusek Castro clarified that no one has been placed under preventive suspension yet, as it is necessary to first identify who should be held accountable. She further highlighted that the government's next steps will be based on the evidence.
Kung hindi pa po natin nakikita na siya po yung pinaka-involved, hindi po natin siya mapapatawan ng preventive suspension. Titignan po natin, hindi naman po natin ito katulad natin sinabi kung sino yung dapat mananagot.
In response to complaints that rice traders are offering low prices for their produce, the palace encouraged farmers to sell their rice directly to the National Food Authority, or NFA. Malacanang urged farmers to approach their local government units, or LGUs, for assistance in connecting with the NFA. The government also clarified that rice imports are not contributing to the drop in local rice prices. Aside from this, the government plans to purchase trucks that can help farmers transport their rice to the NFA, addressing the transportation issue that has hindered their ability to sell their produce.
Ang problema lang malamang po ng mga farmers natin ay wala pong sasakyan. Pero ayon po sa ating secretary, meron na po tayong ginagawang procuring po ng trucks. At hindi lamang po siguro ngayon, kasi ngayon po lang po nagkakaroon ng bidding para po pag nagkaroon na po tayo ng sasakyan ay diretso na po natin yung mga farmers at hindi po sila mahirapan na mabenta ang kanilang palay sa NFA.
In other news, the palace has expressed support for the House of Representatives' call to investigate alleged irregularities in the 6.4 billion pesos local government support fund allocated to the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, or BARM. The lower house urged the Commission on Audit, or COA, to scrutinize the fund's distribution following claims that only certain favored barangays in the region receive financial assistance. According to Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro, the investigation falls under Congress oversight function and is necessary to determine any issues regarding fund allocation. Also, the palace also clarified that this probe is unrelated to the recent leadership transition in BARM, wherein President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. appointed Abdul Rauf Makakua as the interim chief minister. Meanwhile, Senator Ronald De La Rosa expressed willingness to accompany former President Duterte to The Hague if an ICC arrest warrant is issued. He also considered going into hiding, but clarified it's still under evaluation. Former lawmaker Gary Alejano criticized De La Rosa's stance and branded it as cowardice, while Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel warned against De La Rosa's plan to hide in the Senate, which he says implies guilt. Meanwhile, Senate President Chis Escudero reminded Manuel that similar courtesies were extended to his colleagues in the past.
Meanwhile, as the House Committee on Basic Education and Culture continues its hearing on the issue of alleged ghost beneficiaries in the senior high school voucher program of the Department of Education, lawmakers have identified that as early as 2016, there were already red flags in the program. Lawmakers questioned why this issue was not immediately addressed following or allowing the problem to worsen. Though DepEd explained they are continuously investigating the issue, and as of now, they have already implemented stricter measures in the implementation of the voucher program. Meanwhile, the House Tri-Committee will continue its hearing on the issue of the continued spread of fake news and disinformation online.
Hindi naging madali ang pinagdaanan ng ibang magsasaka para makuha ang lupa na nakalaan para sa kanila. Matatandaan na naging sentro ng kontrobersiya ang sinapit ng mga Agrarian Farm beneficiaries mula sa Barangay Kurilang, President Roas, Probinsya ng Capiz, nang harangin, guluhin at pagbabarilin ng mga armadong tauhan ng Nemesio Tandan Holdings. Pagkakaroon ng malakas na political will at determinasyon ang naging kasangga ng mga opisyal ng GAR para ipatupad ang pag-install sa mga ARV sa nasabing lupa.
Mga kooperatiba, nag-umpisa ini sa walang-wala gid. Pero sa time ni BBM, nahapagan kami sang support services. Dalag ko gid nga mga machineries nga naga-balor sa milyon.
Sa kasulukuyan, sa unang 2 taong panunungkulan ni Presidente Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., nakatanggap ang Montecarba ng 2,640,000 piso na halaga ng makinarya at kagamitang pangsaka.
Hindi tama na ang ating mga magsasaka na pinaghihirapan at nagtatrabaho ng taon-taon na wala naman silang lupa. Kaya ang agrarian reform ay naging priority ng administrasyon.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. highlighted the Philippines' strong stance against the proliferation of nuclear weapons during a meeting with Dr. Robert Floyd, Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. The president highlighted that in a nuclear war, no one wins, underscoring the importance of maintaining global peace and security by avoiding the use of nuclear weapons. The leader of the land reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons and the implementation of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, and pork industry players will hold a meeting to discuss how they can improve the compliance level to the maximum suggested retail price, or MSRP, on local pork. Since it was implemented last week, the compliance level among pork retailers remained at 20%, while the compliance level for the so-called sabit ulo is only 6 to 7%. For their part, the Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura, or SINAG, assured that producers are not the reason why the price of pork increased. The Pork Producers Federation of the Philippines, on the other hand, proposed to impose MSRP for imported pork first.
The government recorded a 68 billion pesos budget surplus in January. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, reminded private establishments to submit their annual wage reports. These and more updates in tonight's Business Wrap from the Philippine News Agency.
For our business news, the national government has recorded a budget surplus of 68.4 billion pesos in January 2025. According to the Bureau of Treasury, due to the sustained revenue and increased expenditures, the budget surplus was lower than the 88 billion pesos recorded in January last year. Revenue collections increased by 10.7% to 476.1 billion in January from 421.8 billion last year. This is due to higher tax collections, which improved by 13.60% year-on-year. Tax revenues hit 437.5 billion pesos, while non-tax collections reached 29.6 billion pesos. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment has reminded employers to submit their annual Establishment Report on Wages, or AERW. All private establishments must submit the 2024 AERW between March 17 and June 30 in compliance with Article 125 of the Labor Code. The annual reports should contain a list of employees as of December 31, 2024, including rank and file employees, learners, apprentices, and workers with disabilities, as well as employee salaries and wages specified in their contracts. Employers may access the DOLE online compliance portal to register and submit the reports. In other news, the Philippines' gross gaming revenue, or GGR, grew by 25% in 2024 as revenues from electronic games surged by 165% during the year. The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation said the country's GGR increased from 329 billion pesos in 2023 to 410 billion in 2024. This is despite President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s ban on the operation of the Philippine offshore gaming operators. PAGCOR Chairperson and CEO Alejandro Tenco said he attributes the strong performance of local gaming industry to the implementation of strategic policy adjustments, such as the gradual reduction of fee rates for e-games since 2023. That's the latest business news from the Philippine News Agency. This is Stephanie Savaliano for Balitang Pambansa.
Thank you, Stephanie. The provincial government of Romblon spearheaded the celebration of the 124th founding anniversary of the 80th liberation anniversary of the province, which aims to honor the sacrifices of their ancestors and remember the said historic event that paved the way for the current progress that province has achieved. Paul J. Senfos of Philippine Information Agency Mimaropa has the details.
A shared identity and history. This was the central message of Romblon's 124th founding anniversary celebration on March 16 and its 80th liberation anniversary on March 18. The provincial government of Romblon led both celebration, which began with the Holy Mass and the civic parade in the town of Romblon on Sunday. This was followed by a wreath-laying ceremony at the Liberation Marker to honor the heroes of the World War II. During the program, Romblomanos were urged to reflect on the sacrifices of their ancestors who fought for freedom and how their spirit of unity continues to drive the province's progress today. On March 18, the provincial government also offered flowers at the Liberation Marker in Barangay Sawang to commemorate Romblon's 80th liberation anniversary. It can be recalled that on March 18, 1945, Romblon and Panay Islands were finally liberated from Japanese occupation thanks to the bravery of the Panay guerrilla forces and local residents who fought for freedom. The celebration also featured various sports activities at the trade fair in front of the Capitol building, showcasing local products and businesses. Both March 16 and 18 have been declared as special non-working holidays in the province to allow residents to fully participate in the historic events. From the Philippine Information Agency Mimaropa, Paul Jason Foss, Balitang Pambansa.
To celebrate National Women's Month and the 4th nationwide fire drill, women firefighters showcased their skill in an all-women drill at the 578 Mall in Borongan City, Eastern Samar. The event themed Women on Fire highlighted women's key role in fire safety and emergency preparedness. V. Tolentino Gumban of the Philippine Information Agency Eastern Samar tells us more.
As part of the celebration of National Women's Month and the 4th nationwide fire drill for high-density occupancies this March, women firefighters showcased their firefighting skills through an all-women fire drill at 578 Mall in Borongan City, Eastern Samar. The activity, with the theme Women on Fire, focused on the important role of women in fire safety and emergency response, as well as the significance of preparedness. According to Fire Chief Inspector Jimmy Corpin Pasage, Provincial Fire Marshal of BFP Eastern Samar, the activity was conducted simultaneously across the country.
Sila po yung nag-conduct ng fire drill, sila po yung driver nun is female din po. Yung mga lahat ng crew na nandun na nag-perform during the fire drill are all female. You know, isa po sa mga namin yun, isa sa mga program namin yun. para mai-promote din natin kung gaano yung how responsible are women sa ating society since we are observing as well as also mga babae din po yung pina-perform ng ating occupancy din sa 578.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police conducted an all-women checkpoint in support of the 2025 National Women's Month celebration, where female personnel from the Eastern Samar Police Provincial Office and various police stations led checkpoints on national roads across the province. The team was composed of female police officers supported by female personnel from the Bureau of Fire Protection, PNP Highway Patrol Group, and the 78th Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army.
Ang masasabi ko po sa lahat ng kababaihan ko, ma'am, sa lahat po ng babae, kaya natin, hindi lang tayo babae, kundi babae tayo, may magagawa tayo, at kung ano yung magagawa ng lalaki ay kaya rin natin gawin.
Women are the foundation of society. Through their care, guidance, and strength, strong and progressive communities are built. From the Philippine Information Agency Eastern Samar, Vito Lintino Gumban, Balitang Pambansa.
On the other news, pork prices in Eastern Visayas remain within the Department of Agriculture or DA's suggested retail price, staying below 380 peso per kilo. Alet Reyes from the Philippine Information Agency, Leyte, has the details.
Although Eastern Visayas is not included in the price cap set by the Department of Agriculture, pork prices in wet markets in the region still remain within the maximum suggested retail price. In the regular monitoring by the Agriculture Department in the region, pork has yet to exceed 380 pesos per kilo, even as it faces challenges from the declining number of hog raisers due to fears of the African swine fever and the high cost of feeds. In the list by the Bureau of Animal Industry, Leyte and Southern Leyte provinces still remain among the areas with active ASF cases. Swine supply in Eastern Visayas currently come from Mindanao. Jinky Galan, one of the pork meat vendor at the Tacloban Public Market, shares the problem on ASF has heavily affected swine supply in the area. However, they are maintaining prices to sustain customer needs.
Tumutubo pa rin kami, pero hindi na katulad noon na mura lang ang baboy sa kamura yung buhay. Halimbawa noon tumutubo kami ng 3,000 sa isang baboy. Ngayon magkakatubo na lang kami na yung sa isang baboy kung maubos. 1,812 na lang. Ganyan talaga.
In the latest statistics released by the Philippine Statistics Authority for February 2025, a higher inflation rate for the meat and other parts of slaughtered animals was observed at 3.9% compared with the 1.1% in January. From the Philippine Information Agency, Leyte, Alet Reyes, Balitang Pambansa.
For our weather update, the northeast monsoon is affecting Luzon while shear line affecting the eastern section of Visayas. For the areas of Visayas, Sorsogon, Masbate, Surigao del Norte, and Dinagat Islands, expect cloudy skies with scattered rains and isolated thunderstorms caused by the easterlies. Cagayan Valley, Apayao, Aurora, Quezon, and the rest of Bicol region may experience cloudy skies with rains caused by the northeast monsoon. Expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated light rains caused by the northeast monsoon in Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon, while the rest of the country may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms may be expected caused by the easterlies.
And that concludes a rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
And the Muslim community is preparing for the Laylatul Qadr, or the last 10 nights of Ramadan. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is
Balitang Pambansa.